Okay.
So those are half of the things. And then the other thing that I think is important, I don't know if you ever mess with this, but this is another fun one on faster moving trades. This is what I would consider like greed protection, right? Because we're all kind of greedy, and I think we almost need to protect ourselves from ourselves. And I tend to do this, and I'll go like grocery shopping, or I'll go with my son to Academy to buy his baseball uniform, and I'll ensure that I win instead of losing by, if I'm just doing like small trades just to make a little money while I'm out and about, I'll go to trailing stop. I personally like by rate, which just basically means by distance. It's like saying if this thing loses 50 cents, I'm out, right? That's a trailing stop loss by distance, right? It's based on price. By rate, it's actually by percent. That just happens to be the one I like to work with because sometimes I'm working with an asset that's worth, pennies, and another might be worth $7.20. So this one helps me just kind of keep them all uniform. And what I normally do is I'll usually find on most assets, like you may not do this on Bonk because it'll probably wipe you out pretty fast. You may do like 5% or 3% or something a little larger on Bonk, or just not trade Bonk at all is probably the smartest thing to do, with at least not with 10x leverage. Um, but just taking 1% and then confirm. And what it does is it creates this trigger right here. And this trigger can be drug up and down. And you can actually drag it up and down on a mobile phone too. And so it's kind of cool that all that does is it guarantees that you're out of the trade here, which is negligible profit. And if this thing keeps going up, it could run into these, which will also take you out of the trade and make sure that you make money, right? If it just literally like keeps going while you're at work and it hits those, great, that's awesome. You make money there too. So now you're really like creating way more ways for you to win, and you've almost eliminated the possibility of loss. Like I actually have eliminated the possibility of loss on this trade. So in this case, I can see that my trigger is here. And this thing, if we just watch it just a little bit as Cardano moves up, we will see that this will actually just start moving. And you can see it probably even a little more noticeably, I would say, uh, on a smaller time frame. But I'm hoping that it just pops a little bit and it just goes up a little bit, because if it does, it'll be a really good opportunity to see that trailing stop move up and follow it, on this video. If it comes back down, the trailing stop actually doesn't move, and it will sell off your position, right then and there. And so if you ever want to know, I don't think it doesn't let you hover over it to see what your stop is there. So if you want to see, as far as I know, if you want to see um, what your loss would be, so to speak, in that range, you would just set another one. So you would just set a stop loss, and then now you have one. And so now if you just for the math's sake, you're like, I just want to know what's my worst case loss. You just match your stop loss with your trailing stop, and you can now hover over it and you go, okay, so it's about 4%. Okay, now I really don't need this. I'm just going to rely on the trailing stop. And now I know, though, that I'm either going to make 4% or somewhere, somewhere higher than that, especially if it drags it up. But worst case scenario, I double checked what I was going to make there. And if I move it up at all, just a little bit, then I'm probably going to make, 5 or something, right? It adjusted it. So with 10x leverage, I'm going to make a little bit extra. And that's really it. And so I know we were talking about just like how to get to consistently making $300 per trading day, and I think like this is a great example. This happens to be with only $99. I happen to be doing a 10x leverage, so the exchange treats it like 989. But if I wanted to 10x this and be playing with $110 at this moment, then my margin would have had to. In my world, I really don't think I don't really go up beyond 10x. I'd probably do less, but I would like to just see my margin size, go higher. So if I was going to do 10x and I wanted it to move faster, I would just do $1,000 real dollars, and then I would do it at a 10x, and this would be going to 130. It'd be at 130 right now, and by the time it got up to where our goal is, the take profit I think was like 56%, somewhere in there, right? The goal is 56% and 106%. So the average would be somewhere in the neighborhood of, I think I sell a little more of my position at this lower number, so the average might be more like 60%. So this would be like a trade that if it went all the way, it would make me $600 on my 1,000. It would all happen within a day. And then in a worst case scenario, I would make like 4%, and 4% of 1,000. So, I'd make like $40. And so that's really it.